I figured the best way to start off 2024 is we'd go down a few back roads and we would check out some of the places that I don't think really that many people know about. They have a Sasquatch and it moves. Now this is a once-of-a-lifetime opportunity. No inchar means. Oh, he's scratching himself. Now I don't know if he's supposed to be creepy or sad. Oh no! You can even see some of the paint like going up on the I mean, dude, look how big the head is. I keep hearing, oh. Great Jawa horn! Oh, that.
It wasn't very high.
Well, I don't know how I feel about that. As I was saying, they've locked it down. Oh! I just love walking by these things. A little more redneck. At the very top of the tipple is the coal mine. It freaked me out so much as a kid. And this is one of the 7. That's where all the ghost stories are associated with. You know what? I guess I just found Atlanta R2-D2. Even the Egyptians were here. Now that was a montage. Anyway. What's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all with the very last video of 2024. It has been a roller coaster of a year. I'll say that much. Both in front of the camera and behind the camera. It's been interesting, from being in a hit and run to writing and publishing a book, to getting my own antique booth, and my grandfather passing away, my dad's father, at the ending of the ending of December. So it has been a wild one. But as per usual, every year I do one of these. I did one last year, and I think I did one similar. I can't quite remember, but if not, I know I did one last year. And anyway, you guys, I just figure for this video, I would just talk about my year in review. Just like what I did last year. Also some of the things that I did that were new last year. Some things I did not do. I really wish I had, looking back on it. But, you know, I mean, there's always opportunity for 2025. And I think one of the things that, what I'm mentioning in that, is last year I talked about doing a live stream instead of doing my famous people interviews or interesting stories vlog or interview series. That one I kind of fell off with just because financially I was not doing well at the time. I mean, I'm doing better. I mean, to be honest, I think people don't give DoorDash enough credit. And that's actually another thing that I want to get into here in a minute. But actually, you know what? Since we're on the topic, I think I'll just tell you all about that situation. Back in March, well, it's kind of a gray area because legally, or not legally, I believe they did terminate me, but I told them that I quit, and that was my regular day job. There was just a lot there that there was a lot of stuff brewing beneath the surface, and I will just say I'm glad that I took the risk that I did. Because for the last 10 months, the only thing that I have been doing is DoorDash, YouTube, and my book. And I will say, I mean, financially, I did pretty well. Granted, there were certain things that did happen that kind of hindered me a bit. That first thing being my car. August or October 19th, in the middle of my haunt season series, I was out door dashing, and if you're familiar with the Bradley County, Cleveland area, there is an intersection between this road called Paul Huff and Frontage Road. I was coming onto Frontage Road. Somebody came all the way into my lane, sideswiped me, and drove off. They never caught the guy, or at least that's what I've been hearing so far. So that has been a big hindrance. I've been using a family member's car, and that's going to be one of my big things, especially for early January. And I think I've already found a good car. With my bank that I have here in my hometown, I was able to get a loan or get approved for one, and actually the payback on it is not all that bad. So for January, that's going to be my big thing. In fact, probably for the first part of 2025, probably either a week or 2 weeks into January, I think I might take a break. I mean, I know I'm going to be taking a break regardless. If you all have seen, Christmas Staycation is close to, compared to the shorts that I put in there, it's about 20 videos in total. So I'm a little bit burnt out at the end of the holiday season. There are some things that I need to do. But anyway, I just hate that they never caught the guy that hit me and just kept on going. And it sucks even more that I still have to pay back the vehicle or the auto financer that I got it through. But luckily, I mean, I think I only owe them, like, I won't say it on here, but I'll just say it's not that bad compared to what it was. So that's one thing in 2024 that kind of threw me through a loop. Also for 2024, I was what's it called, involved in a civil warrant. A civil warrant isn't really like an arrest, but it is serving paperwork. And what had happened is I had a medical emergency 2 years ago that sent me to the ER. And I was only there for like 30 minutes. I wasn't there that long. They got everything under control, and it was just overall just an easy experience. But I never got the bill, and it was 2 years in. And as my sister and I are coming back from DragonCon year 3, my mother gives me a phone call saying, "Hey, you've got somebody has or the city of not Bradley County, but it was a what do you call them? It was a debt collector that was taking me to court over a bill I never got." So that one, granted, I did go to my court date, unlike, I think, out of the, like, 30% out of the 100, or 30, I'd probably say about 30% out of the 100% of people whose names were called at that court appearance. Like, only 30% of them came. So I don't know what the other 70% were doing, but I only have to pay them $50 a month. So again, I say a blessing from the Lord, or at least in my faith. I know, like I said, I don't like to get I don't get religious on here, but I am a person of faith, and I'll just leave it at that. But that was another one that kind of threw me for a hard one. And two, my grandfather, my dad's dad, he passed away very late December, practically into January. And that kind of put me down a little bit. I did manage to get back up. Compared to, like, my grandfather's passing practically into 2024, in the beginning of 2024, I'll say that my papaw's passing hit me a lot harder. And I think maybe it's because my papaw and I were were very close. I mean, I'm pretty sure people on different types of the spectrum or different ends of the aisle have probably had situations like that where you're really close to one particular grandparent. But enough with the down stuff. Let's talk about this good stuff that I did this year. And that first thing is I wrote and I published a book, Ghosts and Mysteries of Bradley County, Tennessee. And I know a lot of my viewers on here are tired of hearing, or at least tired of seeing my personal ad that I created. I'm just very proud that I wrote it. I mean, I'm very glad that I took that first step. As of December 30th, I've sold 52 books on Amazon and at my 3 different stores that I have them at. So it's been good. And plus, it feels good to autograph something finally. I've done it for on a very small scale. When I first got published in Frontage Road, my community college's literary arts magazine, all the way back in 2012. But getting to sign it and wanting people to sign it, that's pretty darn cool. And I thank you guys for that, because it's because of you guys that this channel has grown to the extent that it is, or how my book is selling and how it's just going really well. I mean, thank you guys. I can't really show the sentiment, or at least I guess I could. Well, what am I trying to say? Is my thank you, my appreciation. This video and filming it could not do it justice. I am very thankful for you guys for making this happen and following me on this journey, especially my 3rd channel, which, you know what? I think we'll get on to channel number 3, What the Chet. As you all know, at the end of 2023, I announced that I would be doing a 3rd channel. And this 3rd channel, it would be doing things that I can't do on Dream Poet. Dream Poet has kind of become its own topic now. A lot of exploring abandoned places, roadside attractions, a lot of historical, true crime. What the Chet is more or less my casual vlogging stuff that I really like doing, but I can't put it on a bigger channel. I'll just say, it's kind of cool to see the one video that I'm proud of that has done very well on that channel of mine. It is I bought a 12-foot skeleton, and it gives me an idea of how versus how the algorithm recognizes a channel that is monetized versus a channel that is not. Because my 12-foot skeleton video on Dream Poet didn't do that well. On What the Chet, it went up to about close to 10,000 views. So tell me how that works. I don't know, but it's cool to see that, and just to see how the algorithm actually works. I think it helps out newer channels, or at least that's from what I can gather. And in other things, I will cover some of the more controversial things that I've done this year. Knock on wood. Anyway, I really don't like making those kind of videos, just because I've seen how making a video like that can spiral out of control, and it can lead to a lot of hurt feelings or a lot of drama in the community. So I didn't want to be a Boogie 2988, and I'm gonna come clean. I'm sorry that I made the universal is fat, or the universal is fat phobic, question mark. Yes, question mark. Not just a question, not a statement. Is fat phobic. Granted, I mean, since then, I have been to all the Disney parks, and I have been to Lake Winnepesaukah. I had no issues riding those rides, especially the Cannonball. If you like roller coaster history, you all will know that the cannonball is from the 1956, I think, or like 1960s. Had no issue riding it, so I guess one of my things is versus Hagrid's motorbike adventure, which cost $300 million to ride or to get on or to build. Why can I not get on it? Which obviously I made a follow-up video of that versus riding an older roller coaster ride from the 50s or the 60s, or even Disney and Expedition Everest, that kind of stuff. But like I said, I did not want to be dramatic, and that's kind of why I took down I closed off the comments. Maybe one day I'll open that back up. But anyway, that one's just been weighing on my mind a lot. And of course, since we have talked about my year in review. Oh yeah, by the way, before we get into this, I do want to say I was not expecting Ohio to be such a cool experience. Yes, the state of Ohio. I mean, maybe it's just because I was born and raised in the South. I just always heard these horror stories of northern states just having all these laws that are kind of trivial in the grand scheme of things, or how they will tax you out the yin yang. Maybe that's just what I grew up with. But Ohio was pretty darn cool, like as a state, a northern state. And, well, Midwest. But anyway, that's not the point. One of these days, I do want to go back to Ohio. I love you guys, especially you guys from Ohio that do watch my videos. Thank you guys. But now that I've kind of talked about just the good things that happened, the bad things that happened, the controversial things that happened this year, let's get into it. Let's talk about my top 10 most viewed videos of 2024. I got my phone right here. And now, let's do what we have done either since last year or the year, or the years that have come. But anyway, that very first video, number 10, the 10th most viewed video in 2024 that was posted this year, is exploring an old Civil War train tunnel, Tunnel Hill Train Tunnel and Museum. That is the Tunnel Hill train tunnel in Tunnel Hill, Georgia. I said Tunnel Hill quite a bit. But the train tunnel dates, I want to say it dates all the way back to the early 1800s. Don't quote me on it. But I do believe that the general locomotive during the Great Locomotive Chase did go through that train tunnel. And just going out and making that video, it came about as a mistake. Why I say a mistake is the weather for 2024 in East Tennessee was kind of weird, especially at the beginning of the year. Because when I left out for Tunnel Hill, Georgia that day, I think it was like maybe 68 degrees outside. It was pretty calm. I mean, wind wasn't too bad. But as I got down there, it just downpoured. And I'm talking like it wasn't like that 60-something degrees. It dropped all the way down to 40. It was butt cold and the rain was horrid. I think that's actually how I got under the weather. I can't quite remember. But I will say I did have a paranormal experience while making that video. As you all know, I love my ghost stories. It's just how I was raised and my interests. But when I was in there, I was the only person in that train tunnel, and the entire time I was walking down the tunnel, those sensors, which were at the far end, were lighting up. Now, the sensors, which are basically tied up to lights, they light up every time they see, it's motion activated. Well, I was walking in there, and yet still, they were going off. Like, they were going off the lights. It was freaky. And I could have sworn I heard some, like a disembodied voice. And I know it is haunted. But that is number 10. Now on to number 9. 1 second. Number 9. The Man Who Sold Babies. And this is the story of Dr. Thomas Hicks. It's maybe about 20 minutes away from, well, actually maybe 30. It's in, it sits like right on the Tennessee-Georgia border. But if you all don't know the story, it was an illegal adoption ring. Some of the things that the doctor was doing is he was claiming that the babies had died during childbirth. But what really was going on is he was selling those babies to men and women who could not have children and who wanted to adopt. And some of the other things that he was doing, which was kind of sketchy, he was keeping, well, not really sketchy. Probably there's a different word for it. Maybe it's just because it was all paperwork related and all legalities. But the mothers who would come in to get an abortion, which, by the way, it was an illegal abortion ring as well. Dr. Hicks, he would encourage the mothers to give birth to the children. And anyway, that's not really the controversial side. I think the more controversial side at the time was the abortion ring, because with this being the South, 1950s, 1960s. Something like that was pretty scandalous. But anyway, I'm going to keep anyway, but I'll just say that Dr. Thomas Hicks, he was he was an interesting individual. Some sources say that he tossed his all the adoption records into an abandoned mine shaft in Copper Hill. Which, actually, that's another thing, too, that was a bit illegal, is he was giving these parents, actual, paperwork, like blank birth certificates, and said, sign it. And that's kind of why it's been very hard for a lot of family members who were Thomas Hicks babies to find their birth parents. And I'll just say, when I made that video, I mean, I still, even though I thought I explained it thoroughly, I still got critiqued. You know how that goes. Maybe I should have been a little more harder on, a little more explanatory on all the things that he was doing besides, well, anyway, besides the good things that he was doing. But anyway, that's number 9. And on to number 8. And that is, this Mass General Store has been operating since 1883, in Valley Crucis, North Carolina. Now, this one I have known about since 2017, and how I got to know about it is my papa, my mother's father. He was originally from not Valley Crucis. He was from Creston. He was from a little town called Creston, North Carolina. I believe it was unincorporated. The nearest incorporated town was West Jefferson, but in Valley Crucis, which is not far from West Jefferson, there is a Mass General Store that has been operating for the better part of about 140 years, going on 150. And much of it to this day, it's still practically the same as it was back then. Like the post office, like they still have like the really old P.O. boxes, and you have like these really old posters. It's really cool to look at, and even in the middle of this old Mass General Store, you also have like a really cool like stove burner, and I'm talking this thing is probably like 7 feet tall. Like you can feel its heat, like maybe from like 10 feet away. But it's also really cool to kind of see like how things were done back then, because they still had a lot of that same equipment. But I don't know, it's one of the things that I miss, especially my grandfather, well, my papa. But anyway, I'm really glad that you all liked the Valley Crucis Mass General Store, because it's number 7 on the list, that you all have liked it so much. But now, on to number 6. We are nearing the top 5. And now this one I loved. Like, this one I will gladly go back and do it in a heartbeat. And that is rail biking to a train tunnel built by prisoners, Andrews Valley Rail Tours. Now, Andrew, North Carolina, it's about an hour and 6 minutes east of Cleveland, Tennessee. And what it is they have built these. This company has built these rail bikes that you can. It's like you can crank pedal, and it's about I'd probably say about a 5 mile trek through countryside, through old abandoned buildings, farmland, and it takes you to the very end of a train tunnel built by prisoners. And this thing is like 320 something feet long. Like, that was an extremely fun experience that I want to do again in the future. I'll probably end up taking my family. And if you're curious, if you want to do it and you have seen the video, just know that it's actually not as bad as people would think it to be. I didn't have an issue going uphill. You have like 3 other people that are with you, and I think to an extent there is a motor in it, so I mean it does give you some leverage. But I'll tell you, that was a fun experience, and I think that's at like almost 2,300 views, and it's been up since July 20th. That one, if I could, I would put it higher on the list. But on to number 4. No, number 5. Number 5. Wait 1 second. I think it's number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, on to 5. And number 5, we are getting to the halfway point. And that is, this cave has been occupied for over 12,000 years. Russell Cave National Monument. Now that one was neat. It was a part of my Native American Heritage Month that I do every year. I like doing it because since a lot of my channel is history based, I just like, maybe it just even goes back to me working at the Sequoia Birthplace Museum and just growing up with a fairly big well, maybe not so much a lot of family members with a lot of ties to the Cherokee Nation who still lived in Bradley County, which was one of the last strongholds of the Cherokee Nation. But anyway, Russell Cave, it is in North Alabama, just outside Chattanooga on the west end. And I didn't know about it till I had my accident with my car, and I was trying to find places to go that would really kind of be localized, just because it wasn't my vehicle. And Russell Cave is really, really cool. Especially, I mean, it's monumental to see like just how big this cave system is. And if it wasn't for a bat or I think it's white nose syndrome, I know for a fact that my friend Andy's Journeys went back there many years ago. But I thought it was interesting. I thought, just going all the way back to the Paleo Indians, like over 12,000 years. It's all there in one spot. That is cool, and it just goes to show like how cultures change over time. That's what I really like about it. But now, since we're at the halfway point, let's go on to number 4. And number 4, actually, maybe 1 second. Either way, I'm trying not to be too confusing on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually, number 4 would be what we're going to talk about. Sorry about that. I had to correct myself. But number 4, last one was number 5. The abandoned railroad of Hartwell, forgotten train cars found. Now, I do follow a Facebook group called Abandoned Rails, and that's how I first found out about this abandoned caboose and train car, even a turntable that's in, I'd probably say Northeast Georgia, Northeast Georgia, and really they sit. They just sit to the wayside, and they've been falling apart over the last few years. And as you know me, I love abandoned stuff and I love trains. And when you put abandoned trains in together in a mix, well, that makes me driving 3.5 hours in the rain to see it. And I will say, I was not disappointed, especially getting to go into a box or a caboose that is falling apart. That was really, I mean, it's sad, but at the same time, maybe it's the experience that I'm having. In all of Hartwell, Georgia, like the rail line that it ran with, a lot of it is still there. But there are also parts where they've pulled up the train tracks, and it's kind of cool. Like some of it's almost like a greenway where you can walk. It's really, really cool. And, well, I feel like I've said that a lot, but I mean, some of these places, that's the only way I can describe it. But on to number 3. Well, actually, no, number 4. I'm sorry, I know I'm not making much sense. I'm sorry. 1 second. 1, 2, 3. So anyway, anyway, I'll just go by the numbers that as you see here. The train graveyard and abandoned sawmill at the Cass Scenic Railroad. As you all know, every year, and I've kept it a tradition, I like to go out to these places that, for my birthday, a big birthday road trip. And one of the things I did this year is I went into West Virginia. And boy, West Virginia is a really cool little state. Like, I mean, people might give might talk about or might crap on them a little bit just because it is a poorer state. But I'll tell you, the ecotourism and the tourism industry, they are top notch. Like, that's actually where I walked 850 feet above the New River Gorge. Now, that's a video right there. Like I said, I wish I could have put it here in this video, but those things happen. But anyway, the Cass Scenic Railroad State Park, it was a logging town that had become a state park, but it is also a really cool locomotive area. Like, they have, I think it's about 5 or 6, I think it might be 6, Shay locomotives, which are these big trains with these big gears. And they used to use them pretty heavily during the logging days of, the logging days, the late 1800s and early 1900s, or into the 1920s. But they have 6 of them. And what they also have is they also have what I call a train graveyard. I saw it like on Google Earth. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to drive through here and I want to check it out. And I was not disappointed. And also that sawmill, that is really cool to see, but I will say do not go inside it. Adhere to the no trespassing signs that are in front of it. It's for your own good. And why I say that is you might get tetanus or you might get killed. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen with an older building like that that's kind of falling down. But I will say, I just loved, it was really, really awesome. I do want to go back to the Cass Scenic Railroad again to ride the train through the mountains. But now, on to the next most viewed video. And that next one is exploring the largest underground lake in America, the Lost Sea. Now, granted, I know people have made videos on this place before. Most notably, Adam the Woo. By the way, Adam the Woo is one of my heroes and probably one of my big sources of inspiration to get up and make videos. But the Lost Sea is the largest underground tourist lake in the entire world. Well, technically it's like the second largest, not tourist cave. The other one, I think, is in Africa or India. and you cannot go in there. I think the water is actually kind of dangerous. But the Lost Sea, I mean, it never gets old. It's, I want to say it's like 7 stories or 12 stories in the ground. And just overall, the underground lake is really cool. But probably one of the even cooler things is like when the water goes down, you can see trilobites, like trilobites and other prehistoric life that was there before it was a cave. I mean, really, the only things that live there nowadays is are the trout, and that's really about it. But I mean, I believe this is number 3, but it is a very well worth number 3, especially if you're into not so much adventures, but you do want to see something pretty darn cool, and that's the Lost Sea. But on to number 2. And number 2, and this I'll be getting into here in a moment. This is the most amazing Tennessee state park I've ever been to, Rock Island State Park. And that statement is very true. Rock Island State Park is still, in my book, the coolest Tennessee state park that I've ever been to. I mean, it is amazing. It feels like it's its own national park. It does not feel like a state park. But, I mean, just the Great Falls, Twin Falls. They even have the second largest walleye ever caught on record in the entire world. That's in their gift shop. They've got a dam. I've seen people get on it, but I wouldn't recommend that. But it's just a really, I mean, it's breathtaking. It feels like a part of the Smokies was just plucked and just put into one area. Well, granted, we are in an area that is the Smokies. But what I wanted to get into about this particular one, this particular video has given me inspiration to vlog every single Tennessee state park. I think it's all 58 or all 59 within the entire state of Tennessee. That is my goal for 2025. And we're going to push into it really hard. I know that there is another channel that has been doing it, and I'm not really doing it to be the first, but I am doing to say, to look back, I showed you guys all 58, 59 Tennessee state parks, and I got to be at every single one of them. That's pretty darn cool. But yeah, Rock Island State Park, if you want, like, it's only even like 30 minutes outside of Fall Creek Falls. Like, it's like, part of it even feels like Rock City in a way. But that, hands down, I see why it was the number 2 most viewed video out of 115 videos this year. Go to Rock Island State Park. It will blow your mind, especially if you love Tennessee state parks. And that leads me to the very last video. The most viewed video of 2024. And it kind of makes me think back on a video I made that actually got the boom going on my views and subscribers and how I got monetized. But it wasn't even like supposed to, like, I know I got a couple of things wrong, but when that video blew up, I mean, it's like everybody attacked me over those very minuscule things, and I kind of held off on this type of content for a while. But what that is proof that Israel and Egypt were in America before Columbus, ? As a question. Proof that Israel and Egypt were in America before Columbus. What is the Stone of Witness? And it is it's in Manchester, Kentucky. But if you've ever heard of it, some people call it the Redbird Petroglyph, or some people call it the Stone of Witness. And some of the stories associated with it, they say it has 8 different old world alphabets on it, all from all different cultures. That may be proof that that there were other cultures here in America before Columbus, or even before Leif Erikson, before the Vikings. Well, I mean, granted, Native Americans have been here since the beginning, or for the most part. But it's just interesting to see just a stone that exists like it is. But I will say there is a lot of people that say that it was more than likely probably carved out by Cherokee when they still lived in the Kentucky area. But just the thought of the Stone of Witness, the Redbird petroglyph, it'll blow your mind. And the fact that it was in a cliffside at one point, and the fact that even if I get all my info correct, everything right, I still get hit with people that call me crazy and ludicrous. But I mean, it did get 15,000 views, so I made like $100 off of it. So I mean, I did that. That's a good thing, you know? Yeah. But yeah, you guys, that are my top 10 most viewed videos of 2024. And as we go into 2025, I am super excited. I have mentioned it before, but in 2025, in May, I will be publishing another book, Ghosts and Mysteries of the Cherokee National Forest, Southern End. And that will be coming out in May. So, I mean, I'm getting my boots on the ground. But you guys, this is going to be another New Year's video for another day. Thank you all for making this happen. In this entire year, 3,000 more of you guys decided to follow me. I mean, I'm just forever grateful. Thank you guys, because you guys are the ones who make this happen. And saying that, you guys, Happy New Year. Happy New Year 2025. Let's make this a grand year. Let's do it, you guys. Peace out. Well, anyway, peace out. And if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Love you guys. Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this Tony the Tiger. Here's the natural bridge that I have heard so many people talk about on an actual toe, out like this anymore. But yeah, Brooks, long time no see.
Long time no see, I'm thrilled.
So I mean, I kind of see why they might. Yeah! Whoa! Is way better painted. Well, maybe not. I think that's probably a big reason why I wanted to come here as well. Also got a coyote skull. You don't really see that. Minding his own business. It's an elephant taxidermy. Along with that, I want to wish a happy Father's Day to my dad. It lights up in tune with the music. But in the reports by the Army, it will calm your nerves and just about anything else. That's a bigger, that's a closer stand. Residents could order one completely built, although they are a little bit shaky. That almost feels like a taxidermy. I got me a helmet. Which one? Oh no! Oh. Maybe he's just very photogenic. I do not like rain, but somehow I seem to get caught in it. You know, buildings like this from the time. Let's go to the vendor hall. Let's do it. My mama was outside in the utility room washing clothes. That's so neat. That's just cool that, oh my God, this is cool. Oh my God, they have a raptor.
These were not race lynchings or anything of that nature. These were so we could get that scene shot. And
have a really genuine, haunted experience. And say no. Oh, it did. And that's how we would get Coke. I mean, if you're a person of faith, you know what I'm talking about. This is very picturesque. Hold up. Oh my goodness. This is a rare shrunken torso. What they're doing. Oh, dude. Oh no, it's a dinosaur sticking its head out. That would fit in pretty well. Just think of what all they had to do. Oh yeah, and they have a Cthulhu. Now I believe right here, this Orlando, I love you. And make you work for cheap labor to build my pyramids. Oh, look at the shark.
Right off the bat.
It looks to be old school military. Here for $1,500 are the bucket heads that are still left over. Read about this house is that it used, and this is what I'm talking about. That was really marking up the place, like with graffiti. This was a passenger car at one time. They have little plushies of old green eyes.
3D printed and then hand painted.
I really. You can see the face. You can see the eyes right there. That's what I'm talking about. The big giant gears.